5 games down, 4 more to come for you here on stage 2. Over in the main stage, we've been gripped just watching the stats from that incredible Krzysztof Ratajski go in price game. Both men have averaged 105, and Ratajski has come from 5-1 down to win it without throwing a leg over 14 darts in his comeback. 11 darter, a 12 darter in their big checkouts. Unreal stuff from the Polish Eagle. Can Danny Noppert, a man who has also, like Krzysztof, won his first PDC ranking title this year, produce something similar? Because Danny Noppert, let me tell you, when he's going well, he can produce those 105 averages because we've seen it. We saw it on the day he went and claimed that first PDC title in Ireland just before the World Grand Prix. Rowby-John Rodriguez, well, he's a young man who burst on the scene a few years ago as a teenager, and everybody was bigging him up, this potential that this young man had. He still has that potential, and at times looks like he's going to deliver on it. But he has not quite found a way to consistently produce his top-level stuff. He's managed to qualify for this Rowby-John. He has been here before. A couple of years ago, he was in the last 32. Win here, and he will match that. But he has a tough job on his hands against a man who comes into this weekend here at the Ladbrokes Players Championship Finals as the number 12 seed.
Big fan of Danny Noppert. I think over the next 2 or 3 seasons we're going to see remarkable things from him. Not to put any pressure on you, Danny, but he has all the tools, and he really does want to be up there. Good start from Rowby-John as well. One of the Rodriguez, the many RJ rods that we have in the world of darts, but it's great to see the stage that's being graced by 2 players where seen more fat on a butcher's pencil. 2 young bucks going at it with very aggressive throws.
55.
But that last dart from Rowby-John there is one of the reasons why his form is a little bit up and down. He gets that odd late release and snatches it, and you just don't know when it's going to happen. But that action of Noppert is so smooth.
It is. The day he won his title, his darts were going into the board in very uniform fashion. They were going in straight, they were going in at the same angle. Now, there are plenty of days where we've seen Danny Noppert and his darts are going in higgledy-piggledy. One pointing up, one pointing down, one pointing one way, another way. They do strange things, Danny Noppert's darts. It doesn't stop him winning games, but when he's at his best, everything seems to be going in straight lines.
100.
So on other days it's blurred lines.
Well, yeah, on other days it's just odd lines.
Yeah, I played Danny on the circuit this year for the first time. We had a great game. It was probably one of my favourite games of the entire season. We tore it up,
44.
and Danny beat me 6-5, but not after a little bit of something that happened to me that's never happened before. I've got 68 left. He's got 64. It's 5-5. We've both thrown 12 darts.
81.
Gone for the 60. Bounce out.
60.
Single 18. Bounce out of the bull. And then Danny takes out 64 the last dart.
Oh,
what a great game, though. Not a good shot for tops. But 10s.
50.
He's inside. And Rowby can steal here. It's 68, ironically.
no bounce out there. No bounce out there.
52.
Not in the double, and a grimace from RJ Rod 2.
Double 2 for Danny Noppert is good. And that was a good rescue, because the dart at double 5 was not his best. But when you can rescue the situation there with a great shot at double 2, it just goes to show the fighting qualities that you have as a dart player.
Rowby-John Rodriguez, his older brother Roxy James. One of his younger brothers, Rusty Jake. Rusty Jake, the Junior Darts Corporation World Champion.
125.
Holding their World Championship final again at Alexandra Palace this year. A whilst he was actually competing in the World U, the next step up, the development tours World Championship, if you like, although hasn't managed to make it to the final day. Of course, that is Dimitri we've just seen and Martin Schindler, who we saw this afternoon.
Well, one thing that Rowby's definitely winning at today is the quiff challenge.
77.
That is quite a violent quiff.
A violent quiff.
That is that's the kind of wave that you'd see Mick Fanning riding under the Northern Lights.
78.
And maybe Danny's a little jealous of that because his hairline is getting a little higher.
Ooh. Put the boot in, Nicholson, why don't you? Oh, hello.
He heard me.
140.
And Danny Noppert, of course, had great success in the BDO. I'd suggest if you want to be successful, don't hit 140s to leave 159.
Yeah, that last start was a mistake. I know he's kind of still in control here, but you want to give yourself as many opportunities as possible. You leave 160 there, take the 160. That's a massive injection of confidence and a statement to your opponent. And now he's got to take it 109, which isn't easy. No finish is easy. He knows that because in the last leg, he took out a very good 10.
Well, there's the 9. But he can't find the 100 that remain in the next 2 darts.
45.
So as a level this game up at 1 apiece.
Tops it is. That is a very, very good dart. And a professional way of getting 76. Making sure that you stay straight. And a very, very good kill.
Only
this should be a 180 for Noppert.
140.
Be disappointed.
Not quite. Yeah, only Austrian we've got in the field this year. Rowby-John Rodriguez. Mensur Suljovic, of course. World Match Play finalist, last year's Champions League of Darts winner. Was lined up to play and then pulled out for family reasons quite late on. Benito van der Pas brought in to replace him and then quite quickly dumped out of the tournament in round 1.
And as for what's happened to Zoran Lurchbacher this season, I have to say I don't have a clue.
No, very, very odd, isn't it? Because he was just getting better and better, Zoran. Made a Pro Tour final last year, only beaten by Joe Cullen. Looked a very dangerous player, managed to win a game at the World Championship, beat Mervyn King. And yet this year, it's all gone horribly wrong. And I think probably the standout moment watching Zoran this year came at the World Cup, where he and Mensur, well, I'm not sure they were speaking to each other, as Mensur seemed absolutely furious that Zoran wasn't pulling his weight in their first round defeat.
And since then, Zoran's just done a Jimmy Hoffa, gone missing. Hasn't really done anything. But the contrary to that is what Danny Noppert's done. He's done a lot. He himself had a few words to say about Gerwyn Price at the Grand Prix, didn't he?
Yeah, he's not Gerwyn's biggest fan. Didn't like his antics on stage. Then again, there's quite a significant number of people, darts players and non-darts players, who aren't particularly keen on Gerwyn Price. Not sure Gerwyn Price cares. Out of the tournament, though, Krzysztof Ratajski saw him off, and at the moment, Danny Noppert is doing enough to get his nose in front in this one.
Who's to say, after that performance, that Krzysztof Ratajski can't win this?
I would not. Krzysztof Ratajski has won 3 titles this year, a UK Open qualifier and 2 Players' Championship events. It's not as if he's played everything. He doesn't have a tour card. He is last year's World Master. Krzysztof Ratajski showed us on the European Tour last year that he can play world-class darts. Krzysztof Ratajski did not even manage to get through Q School. Danny Noppert only got through on points at European Q School. And he's gone on and won a title this year.
Arguably the hardest Pro Tour to win, the one in Dublin. And the reason I say that is because there's one of those obscure darts it's in, but he don't want to go anywhere near that, Danny, and he recognises the threat.
95.
Goes back up to the 18s. And as I was just saying, winning on the Saturday in Dublin. Day 2 of the Players' Championships there. That's the hardest one to win because everybody's there in preparation for the Grand Prix. Nobody's missing. So Suljovic is there, Anderson's there, Van Gerwen's there, Wright, Cross.
Yeah, Cross was the man he beat in the semi-finals, Danny Noppert, and it's actually the best I've seen him play in a burst. He was unreal coming from behind to beat Rob Cross. Just did not miss anything. Hit loads of 180s in that game. 70 scored for Rowby-John Rodriguez. He was looking at the 25 and bull last start, because if he'd hit the 25, it would have left 120 Shanghai finish.
Well, I had a bounce out there, and if you don't succeed, just try and try again. Leave 95 and your opponent will pressure it. Well, that bounce out cost him. Double-double, 2 double 19s. And the first one is shy. So Noppert can punish now. And Danny's looking up at the 9, I think. Yeah. That dart's got him very upright. So is that one. But tops are still there to be hit.
9.
Oh, it's unlucky.
Ruby required 56.
Well, I like the fact that Rowby-John Rodriguez went to the 20s with his last start. Didn't entertain going for the double 19 again or anything like that. It was sensible darts, and he got his reward. He had to rely on Danny Noppert missing, but at least he took the sensible option.
Well, how many times have we seen on the Euro Tour this year someone who's gone for tops with 2 darts in their hand? They've gone high, then they've gone for tops again and missed again. You're absolutely right, Dan. When you're in that situation, the double-double shot is prudent. But when you have a dart in your hand and you still have to try and set it up, it shows the maturity of Rowby-John Rodriguez to actually do that.
Yeah, the double-double shot is there when it has to go. It's a bigger target than a treble, and it makes sense if you put 2 in. You can go double 18, double top if you want. Peter Wright certainly goes that way, but a few players do like putting them in the same bed. So double 19, a very sensible way to go for 76. But if you do miss that first one, some players will just stay on the double because they think, oh, I've been aiming for that, I'll just go there. And it's lazy more than anything, but it's also bad thinking, and it puts you in a position where if your opponent misses and you're allowed back to the board, you've made life harder for yourself.
140.
A little reset there from Rowby-John. I think maybe there was a hesitant retrieval of the darts from Danny, and just
140.
taking his time, which again shows maturity. There's been a lot of documented coverage this week about retrieval of darts from boards, and we have 2 players here who are just getting on with it. There's no antics here. This is just straight up darts. It's good to see 2 different countries competing here, Austria and the Netherlands. 2 hotbeds of darts right now. I myself was in Salzburg back in February looking at some of the younger generation coming through in Austria, and there's a lot of them. They're all switching from soft tip darts to steel tip because they realise where the rewards are, and they've got people to admire, likes of Sulevic. Mensa Mania has definitely taken effect over there.
Yeah, well, genuinely, I was speaking to some guys who run a darts shop in Austria, and it was after Mensah had just won the Champions League, and they said, we have never heard darts being mentioned on the news on the radio, and yet it was all over the place. Mensah becoming their first major champion. It has changed the landscape slightly, and a lot of places in Europe still primarily focused on soft tip. You go to darts bars. Things are changing slightly. Germany is still a lot more soft tip than there is steel tip around, but it is changing.
Yeah, they call it E-dart, and the treble segments are actually smaller. Nothing but admiration for that shot at tops from Noppert, who keeps control, and everything's on throw still. But yeah, E-dart is bigger in those Central European countries, but things are changing, especially when you look at the prize pools of events like this. Starting to find more people coming out of the woodwork, and
85.
Austrian dart still has the best name. A friend of mine called Wilhelm Schwingenschlurgel.
Ah, is he Austrian?
Name. Yeah.
Ah, the Sweet Chariot. Schwingenschlurgel, Sweet Chariot, coming forth to carry me home. Oh, look at this. These darts are behaving. Behaving, routine, regular stuff from Danny Noppert, 180 number 2.
Well, earlier in the season, we had a discussion about the sleeve of Danny Noppert and what it represented. Well, it's the part of the
79.
Netherlands he's from.
Friesland, is that
Something
the
like
area?
that,
I believe
yeah.
so.
And I'm just wondering what the pattern on the back of his shirt represents. It looks like something from Tales from the Crypt.
100. Rowby, you require 142.
Yes. No. Stayed there. Completely acceptable
90.
decision
Danny, you
to
require
try and do so.
137.
Noppert will certainly look at 2 treble 20s here. Can't find either.
They want 96 to leave tops. Treble 19 will leave tops.
58. Rowby, you require 52.
Single 20. Double 16 for a level game.
Game shot
And
the
it's
sixth
level
leg.
again.
Rowby-John
This is
Rodriguez.
intriguing.
Seventh leg, Danny, to
And you just
reverse
get the feeling
game
that
on.
Danny's played the better darts in this match, but Rodriguez is really sticking with him.
He's hanging on in there, and his finishing has been good, Rowby-John Rodriguez. He's 3 out of 4 on the doubles. You can't really
125.
fault that. Checkouts of 76, 56 and 52. Not monster ones, but ones that had to go, and they have
98.
gone. And it's getting to the point now where we know that Rowby-John, despite only throwing mid-80s average at the minute, we know he could just suddenly go 11 darter, 12 darter, and he finds himself on the brink of victory.
99.
If you don't bury your opponent when you're on top, then you run the risk of them jumping up and biting you.
96.
Yeah, you do feel that in games like this, and it's 4-4 for instance, someone breaks at that point, it's the perfect time to break.
Well, anybody can win a couple of legs in
100.
8 visits. Nobody's. You don't expect anybody to go 9 darter, 9 darter, but they can easily go 12, 12. We've seen it plenty of times in Pro Tour, Euro Tour, and indeed in short formats like this.
44.
That in tight games where people aren't throwing their best stuff, but suddenly they just go bang bang, 12 darter, 12 darter, or somebody wins the last 3 legs in 37 darts, something like that.
Impeccable setup from Danny.
137.
Just get the feeling that maybe a hold with a 15 and a break with a 12 will be enough to get the job done here. And
94.
is Rodriguez mounting enough of a challenge on the Noppert throw? Not right now, because the throwing of Noppert on his throw has been too strong.
Well, this is looking like a 7th consecutive holder throw in this game. Oh, busts it. But actually, that's probably a good bust. If you were
No
going to
damage
miss,
done.
If you were going to miss, you'd rather come back looking at double top than say missing inside on the double 10 there or missing outside on the double 10, looking at 20 or 10.
Yeah, not intentional, but that did not hurt him whatsoever, and no flicker of emotion from Danny. He knows that it didn't hurt him. But if he misses double 10 again, it might. And he's got it this time.
Danny Noppert, 8 leg
Yeah, regulation leg there, but a little flicker of the eyes towards his brows as if to say, well, we got away with that one.
57.
Already seen one Spanish giant killing tonight. Cristo Reyes comprehensively beating the world champion Rob Cross. Tony Alcinas currently on the main stage against Peter Snakebite Wright. One apiece in the early stages of that one.
177.
Playing sneaky well at the minute, Tony Alcinas.
Yes.
Under the radar type sneaky. There's that late release start that we see from Rowby-John now and again. That's something that needs to be fixed. Now, he's on the cusp of potentially losing his card, but getting through the qualifier in Southern Europe in the last few weeks may just have done enough to save his card, and being here is definitely going to help.
Danny Noppert, 177, followed by 180.
100.
And the Dutchman, who has hit one career 9 darter, is looking at another. And it's on. Another one in there. Oh, it's deflected out. So well thrown. You saw the first dart move. That was destined.
100.
He would have had one at double 12 for the perfect leg.
What an effort from Danny Noppert. And that was unfortunate.
58.
Threw that dart so
Danny
well.
require 24.
But there was something in the way. And it stiff-armed it. In wide receiver terms in the NFL. Double 6 for 11 darter. What does he want to do here? I think a bust is the prudent play.
No score.
Absolutely right thing to do. Doesn't have to mess around by leaving 3 if he splits double 3.
Well, look, he got himself a dart at double 12 and he missed it. He wouldn't have hit the 9 anyway. Let's not get too excited. He might not win the leg if he continues to miss. But he doesn't, and Danny Noppert gets the first break of throw in this one. 7 perfect darts at the start of that leg has given him the opportunity to hold throw once again and book his place in the next round to face Mervyn King.
Based on the way that Danny's played this evening against how Mervyn played this afternoon, those exact games manifesting themselves tomorrow, there's only one winner, because Mervyn, even though he won, probably played one of his worst games in a winning performance in his career.
Yeah, he will not be happy with his performance today, Mervyn King, but it will not matter, because by getting over the line, winning ugly is a skill in itself. I don't even know where that one's landed. It looks like it's maybe hit the flight and fallen out. Does get a lot of bounce outs, Danny Noppert, and I think part of that is due to the fact that his darts do strange things.
Yeah, Mervyn King's the kind of player, though, when he's had high 70s average one day, he'll probably go and average 105 tomorrow.
Well, he could do it. What he's done, he's bought himself an opportunity to be better tomorrow.
That's what tournament play is all about, you see. If you do enough to get through one day, it's the opportunity that you get that's the most important thing. You know, Michael van Gerwen talks about that's the most important thing all the time. But the more opportunities you have, the more chances you have of creating your own history. And these two are in the infancy of their careers, but they've got a lot of time ahead of them to create their own path.
140.
And that's a great 140 for Danny Noppert. Leaves himself a Shanghai finish. We have not seen Danny Noppert finish anything more than 40 in this game, ridiculously. The combination finishes just haven't been there for him. Is this one? Right at the death. For a 6-3 victory.
80.
No, it's not.
Threw that one so hard. 16 and bull, but it's double 9. It's inside. And Rodriguez thinks it's all over. It could well be now.
Well, he won't improve upon his best finish of 40, but it will not matter because Danny Noppert gets the job done. The Dutchman, who won his first PDC title on the Players' Championship Series this year, finds himself in the second round. It will be the king. It is Danny Noppert celebrating. He'll take on Mervyn tomorrow. We have 3 more games in the second stage for you. Darren Webster, a former semi-finalist at this tournament, he'll take on Jeffrey de Graaf. We get some late night beaten against Dana Verhagen's husband. But coming up in a moment, Chris Dobie, War Chris, against Ron the Bomb Muhlenkamp.